Turkey is one of the few countries that can truly be called a paradise on earth. This is due to its picturesque landscapes. Besides its beauty, the country is known for its rich history, which is why large-scale excavations are regularly conducted on its territory. In this video, I invite you to learn about the newest archaeological discoveries in Turkey and other interesting events happening in this country. Enjoy watching. Speaking of the era of ancient Rome, one cannot forget about structures like amphitheaters. The ancient Romans loved gathering in amphitheaters to enjoy spectacular shows such as gladiator fights. The first amphitheater was built in the notorious city of Pompeii, and after that, such structures gained incredible popularity. In 2021, Turkish archaeologists were researching the surroundings of the city of Mostawera in western Turkey. This location attracted the scientists' attention because they found information in the chronicles that an amphitheater was built in Mostawera. Naturally, the researchers could not miss the opportunity to find the ruins of an ancient structure. It turns out that the amphitheater in Mostawera had been hidden all this time among dense olive and fig groves. Archaeologists established that the structure once had a radius of about 100 meters, and the walls reached a height of at least 15 meters. The age of this amphitheater is estimated at 2,700 years. Unfortunately, to this day, only fragments of the arena, spectator stands, and a few columns have survived from this structure. A total of 7 amphitheaters have been found in Anatolia, each of which is an important archaeological find. There are many incredibly fantastic places on Earth. Finding yourself among such landscapes, you can't help but think you've landed on another planet. One such place is located in the Denizli province in southwestern Turkey and is called Pamukkale, which translates from Turkish as Cotton Castle. Pamukkale is a valley of thermal springs and travertine terraces. Many tourists who have visited this place note that they feel as if they are in Antarctica. The landscape of Pamukkale indeed resembles icebergs over which sky-blue water gently flows. The locals have a legend explaining the origin of this natural wonder. According to it, long ago, Titans lived in this area. One day they laid cotton on the ground and were amazed at how beautiful everything became. For this reason, they decided not to collect the cotton and left the landscape as we see it now. Of course, this legend sounds beautiful, but in reality, the reason for the formation of the white terraces is mineral springs. Over millions of years, calcium from the springs formed calcite stalactites, creating this unique white landscape. In 2021, archaeologists conducted excavations in the city of Çatalhöyük, located in southern Antalya. This settlement dates back to the Neolithic and Bronze Ages, which is why scientists regularly conduct research there. Çatalhöyük is incredibly rich in valuable archaeological finds, one of the latest being the oldest bread. The Neolithic era baking was discovered in an area called Mekan 66, which consists mainly of mud brick houses. Inside one of these houses, a hearth was built, next to which archaeologists found dried wheat, barley grains, pea seeds, and the bread itself with the fingerprint of the person who made it. Initially, scientists couldn't understand what exactly they had found. After laboratory research, it became clear that it was formed from dough. However, this bread was never baked. Essentially, it was leavened dough, a preparation. Interestingly, the age of this find is about 8,600 years old. The city of Çatalhöyük offers researchers many valuable artifacts. Previously, they had already managed to find fabrics, wooden tools, paints, and paintings on its territory, most of which turned out to be the oldest known. The most well-known civilization whose members were among the first to use cosmetics was, of course, ancient Egypt. However, recent excavations in Turkey have shown that the ancient Romans also applied makeup to their faces. In the western part of Turkey lies the ancient city of Izanoy. It was founded in the 3rd millennium BCE and reached its peak during the Roman era. This place holds special value for archaeologists as researchers regularly make new discoveries there. In Izanoy, the ancient temple of Zeus still stands. About 2,000 years ago, a marketplace with numerous shops was located near it. During the excavation of one such shop, scientists discovered various cosmetics, including powdered pigments resembling modern eyeshadows and blushes. The Romans used shells to store these. The cosmetic shop offered its clients at least 10 shades of pigments. Analysis of the find showed that it is about 2,000 years old. The cosmetics contained ochre and lead oxide. Besides pigments, archaeologists also found perfume bottles, various beads, hairpins, and jewelry in the ancient cosmetic shop. Today, the city of Boyabat, located in the Turkish province of Sinop, looks like a true oasis. Neat houses are situated among numerous trees, and every resident can take a break from the scorching sun in the shade of lush canopies. However, less than 50 years ago, this place was a desert. But what happened, you may ask? How could a barren land turn into a green oasis? You might be surprised, but this miraculous transformation was not thanks to nature, but to a man, a forester named Hikmet Kaya. In 1978, Hikmet Kaya was appointed as the head of the forestry department in the Sinop province. The man knew all the features of this region and decided to try to change the appearance of Boyabat beyond recognition. To implement his idea, he found helpers and started planting trees. It took him 41 years to turn the desert into an oasis. During this time, Hikmet Kaya and his team planted about 30 million trees. It was a colossal effort, but the result was worth it. Today, the residents of Boyabat are very grateful to the forester for the opportunity to live in a green, shady city. And Hikmet Kaya proudly poses with a photo of the barren desert he managed to transform into a dense forest. This man proved to the world that determination and hard work can change what seemed unchangeable. In 2020, residents of the Konya province faced a serious problem. Karst sinkholes began to appear on their land plots. The first witness to this phenomenon was a field worker named Ishak Shakir. He reported that one day during his work, he noticed damage to the irrigation systems. When Ishak decided to inspect the field, he discovered a huge sinkhole with a diameter of at least 25 meters and a depth of about 30 meters. He reported his find to the authorities, and it turned out that this sinkhole was not the only one in the province. In 2020, there were 350 karst sinkholes in the region. The following year, their number increased to 650, and by 2022, there were over 1,500. Karst sinkholes vary in diameter and depth. The smallest ones are less than a meter in diameter, but they are no less dangerous. The soil at the edge can collapse at any moment, so local residents are wary of getting too close to them. Initially, it was assumed that the sinkholes were caused by an earthquake, but this is not the case. The culprits of this phenomenon were people and, in part, drought. The water shortage forced people to actively extract water from underground reserves, which eventually led to the collapse of the top layer of soil. Karst sinkholes form when underground cavities can no longer support the soil layer above them. During severe droughts, the situation worsens, and the use of groundwater by farmers leads to the formation of karst sinkholes in large numbers and with incredible regularity. In the modern world, with the advent of digital technologies, printed books have taken a back seat. Undoubtedly, there are still many people on Earth who are regular buyers in bookstores, but their numbers are steadily decreasing. Electronic publications attract readers with their accessibility and convenience. With their arrival, there is no longer a need to carry heavy books or turn on the light if you suddenly want to read before bed. For this reason, people began throwing away many books into the trash. This situation prompted some book lovers in Turkey to create an organization to collect discarded literature. Volunteers started their work back in 2000. As a result, over 6,000 printed editions were collected from the dumps in Ankara. These books formed a public library. The library houses fiction, non-fiction, and children's literature in various languages from around the world. Anyone can come and choose a book they like. All editions are issued for a 2-week period, which can be extended if desired. Amazingly, this idea was very well received by the residents of Ankara, and many of them, instead of throwing books in the trash, began donating them to the new library. Thanks to this idea, the creators of the library not only saved thousands of books from destruction, but also reignited people's interest in printed editions. Swans are among the most graceful birds. It is quite difficult for a person to befriend them, as they are very distrustful and ready to show aggression to protect themselves and their family. However, a Turkish postman named Recep Mirzan managed to do just that. This story began 37 years ago when Recep Mirzan was driving home with his friends after a rest. That day, he noticed a wounded swan on the side of the road. He decided to get out of the car and examine the bird. It turned out that the swan had a broken wing. Mirzan thought that if he left the bird there, it would die, so the postman took it home. The man helped the swan recover and then took it back to the place where he had found it to release it into the wild. But the swan didn't want to leave and returned to the postman's car. Mirzan realized that the bird had bonded with him and decided to keep it on his farm in the Karagak region. The swan turned out to be female. The man named her Garip, which can be translated as strange. Sometimes this word is also used to describe someone who has been unlucky in life. Since then, Garip and Recep have lived together. They share a true and loyal friendship, as the man saved Garip from death, and the bird sacrificed its freedom as a token of gratitude. The average lifespan of swans in the wild is 25 years, and in captivity, 30 years. But Garip turned out to be a long liver thanks to the care and love of her human friend. At the end of 2023, Turkish archaeologists conducted excavations in the ancient Greek city of Stratonicia, during which they managed to discover the ancient statue Dancing Muse. This work from the Hellenistic period was considered lost for over 2,100 years, and it has finally been found. This invaluable find was brought to the British Institute of Archaeology in Ankara, where experts confirmed its authenticity. Undoubtedly, such a discovery became a real sensation. The sculptor was the talented Philiscus of Rhodes, who worked in the 2nd century BCE. In his work, he depicted one of the Muses, born from the union of Zeus and Mnemosyne. According to ancient chronicles, Philiscus of Rhodes created 8 other similar sculptures of Muses. However, it was believed that none of them had survived. Unfortunately, the dancing Muse found in Stratonicia was partially damaged. The statue was missing its arms and head. But of course, this did not diminish its value. The city of Stratonicia was founded in the 3rd century BCE. It was named after the wife of the Syrian king Seleucus I, Stratonice. The city quickly began to grow and develop, and within less than a century, Stratonicia became one of the largest cities in the world built of marble. The city housed an acropolis, 2 major temples dedicated to Hecate and Zeus, as well as many other impressive buildings. The statue of the Dancing Muse became the most valuable archaeological find in Turkey, as it is the only surviving sculpture of the 9 dancing muses. To treat various diseases, ancient civilizations used medicines made from various natural ingredients, particularly herbs. One of the most valuable plants for the Egyptians and Romans was the so-called miraculous herb, or silphium. The primary place where this plant grew was North Africa. Attempts were made to cultivate the miraculous herb in other regions, but this was difficult because it required a lot of sun and a hot climate. Among the ancient Romans and Egyptians, the Cyrenaic silphium was the most prized because it had a mild taste. Syrian and Median herbs were very bitter and had an unpleasant smell, but since they did not lose their beneficial properties because of this, they were also used to prepare medicines. At that time, silphium was considered a real panacea. The ancient Romans, Greeks, and Egyptians extracted an essence from it. This medicine could cure many ailments, including intestinal problems, sore throats, headaches, and high fevers. According to chronicles, silphium was so popular about 2,000 years ago that it eventually became extinct. However, recently a Turkish medicinal plant researcher, Mahmut Miski, reported that he had discovered the same miraculous plant near Mount Hasan in central Turkey. After studying the found herb, Mahmut Miski concluded that it indeed has many beneficial and healing properties. However, it remains a mystery how the extinct African plant could have ended up in modern-day Turkey. During excavations in Turkey, archaeologists have occasionally discovered well-preserved human brains from the Bronze Age. The latest such find was made at the Tavsanli Mound in the Kütahya province in western Anatolia. In 2023, archaeologists from Bilashik Edebali University discovered an ancient burial containing 2 sets of human remains with well-preserved brains and skin. The first remains belonged to a young person aged 15, 18, and the others to a man who died at 45 years old. The age of the find is estimated at 3,700 years. But how could the brains and fragments of skin have been preserved for such a long time? It turns out the preservation was due to carbonization. Thanks to this process, the soft tissues and brains turned into hardened masses instead of undergoing natural decomposition. Scientists suggest that a fire caused this process. Likely, these 2 men tried to escape during a siege of the city, but their shelter was engulfed in flames from outside. The prolonged exposure to high temperatures resulted in carbonization, allowing the brain and skin to partially preserve until today. Turkish historians believe that in the Bronze Age, a large settlement was located at the Tavsanli Mound, but in the 1700s BCE, it was completely burned down by invaders. In 2023, during excavations in the southeastern province of Mardin, researchers discovered a stunning Roman mosaic. For a long time, this area remained unexplored by archaeologists. However, after the Turkish government learned about illegal excavations, scientists promptly decided to begin research near the district center of Kelahanma. It later turned out that important Roman-era artifacts were indeed hidden in this area. The first valuable find by archaeologists was the ruins of an ancient settlement, consisting of a central building and several smaller structures surrounding it. Among the ruins, scientists found a well-preserved floor mosaic. The total area of the tiles is 100 square meters. The mosaic depicts various geometric patterns, as well as trees, waterfowl, octopuses, mussels, and seals. The director of the Mardin Museum, Abdulgani Tarkan, emphasized that this discovery became an important and valuable archaeological find. Most importantly, researchers managed to save the ancient artifact from illegal looting. To ensure the preservation of the mosaic, museum staff undertook the procedure of its extraction. Meanwhile, archaeologists continued excavating the settlement to discover new artifacts that could provide more information about its inhabitants. Every city in the world has its own landmarks. Usually, these are various monuments or buildings. But in the Turkish city of Sivas, such a landmark is a tombstone located right at a crossroads in the Sarkisla district. Most local residents claim they don't know where the tomb came from or who it belongs to. This mystery has led people to create mystical stories associated with the tombstone. The tombstone bears an inscription indicating that someone named Martyr Gariban Baba is buried there. This has likely influenced the creation of various legends. Some people believe that if the word martyr is written on a grave, then an extraordinary person is buried inside. In Islam, as in many other religions, martyrs are those who renounced worldly goods and were ready to sacrifice even their lives for their faith. Therefore, local residents sometimes bring flowers to the grave of this unknown person. The story of this unusual landmark has begun to attract interest from people around the world. For this reason, the district head decided to explain how the tomb came to be at the crossroads. According to him, the tombstone ended up in the center of the road after construction work. An old house, which was uninhabited, was demolished, and the workers decided not to disturb the grave, laying the road directly around it. Today, earrings are a common accessory for almost every woman. But how long ago do you think people first made this accessory? One of the discoveries found in burials in southeastern Turkey helped answer this question. In early 2024, Turkish archaeologists were excavating ancient burials at Pamukkale Tarla. While exploring the tombs, scientists found a collection of strange objects resembling modern earrings for piercings. They consisted of two parts. One had the shape of a nail with a head, and the other was a small cylinder. The first part was probably inserted into the piercing, and the second served as a stopper to prevent the jewelry from falling out. Scientists suggest that ancient people wore them in their ears and below the lower lip. This is evidenced by small wear marks in the lower jaw areas on the skulls found in the same burial site. In total, archaeologists discovered 85 piercing ornaments at Pamukkale Tarla. They were made from flint, copper, limestone, and obsidian. Using radiocarbon analysis, experts found that 5 of the 85 ornaments were made about 10,000 years ago, and the rest at least 8,000 years ago. Previously, it was believed that people first began to pierce their ears about 5,000 years ago. But this find confirmed that people learned to make earrings as far back as 10,000 years ago. In 2021, Turkish archaeologists discovered a Roman sewer system in the ancient city of Tripolis, which was built more than 2,000 years ago and has been perfectly preserved to this day. The ancient city of Tripolis, also known as Neapolis, was founded in the 3rd century BCE. It is located in the modern-day Turkish province of Denizli. Tripolis holds special interest for archaeologists. With each new excavation, researchers make more and more discoveries. This time, while studying the sanctuary and main streets of the ancient city, scientists uncovered a sewer system from the Hellenistic period. The sewer system consists of several tunnels that can easily accommodate a person. Their height is 160 centimeters, and their width is about 70 centimeters. The drainage system runs throughout the entire territory of Tripolis. The construction of the sewer system indicated that it was built by the ancient Romans, which is typical for ancient cities located in modern-day Turkey. Similar Roman sewer systems have already been discovered in the country, but this find stood out for its excellent preservation. Scientists explain that the ancient Romans built the sewer system in Tripolis to provide the local residents with clean water and to clean the city of waste. All the dirty water was drained from the city into nearby streams and then into the Meander River. The small town of Görem, located in the Cappadocia region of Turkey's Nevşehir province, attracts the attention of many tourists from around the world because it is near a unique national park. This park, listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is famous for its unusual landscape with rock formations that locals call fairy chimneys. Hundreds of stone pillars indeed look like something out of a fairy tale. To some tourists, they resemble fairy or gnome houses, while to others they look like magical mushrooms. This attraction was created by nature over millions of years. Once active volcanoes regularly erupted, and their ash and lava solidified into stone pillars. Then rains and winds shaped the volcanic rock into the whimsical forms we see today. Geologically, the fairy chimneys consist of 2 parts, caps made of basalt and andesite, and bases made of tuff, a porous volcanic rock. Over time, due to the effects of rain and wind, the tuff erodes, which will eventually cause the caps to fall. However, this will happen in the distant future, so for now, we have the opportunity to admire this amazing natural wonder. Recently, archaeologists were conducting research in the ancient city of Hattusa, located in the northeastern part of Turkey. During the excavations, they discovered clay tablets with inscriptions. The scientists could not decipher the text because it was written in an unknown language. Previously, Hattusa was the capital of the ancient Hittite kingdom, which existed from 1800 to 1180 BCE. In 1198 BCE, a 3-year drought occurred in central Anatolia, which was one of the reasons for the fall of the Hittite kingdom. Almost immediately after this, the once thriving city of Hattusa was destroyed and abandoned. Its ruins were first discovered in 1834, and the first excavations in this area began in 1906. Since then, archaeologists have discovered many interesting artifacts among the ruins of Hattusa. The found tablets were notable for having inscriptions in a previously unstudied language. Interestingly, since the 1980s, archaeologists have found about 30,000 similar clay tablets in Hattusa, written in the Hittite language, but the language used for this sample is still unknown to scientists. Turkey is an incredibly beautiful country with impressive landscapes. Majestic mountains, steep cliffs, pristine lakes, and of course, seas and bays. All the landscapes of this country captivate any tourist. Some travelers are used to enjoying the natural beauty from a bird's-eye view and therefore choose extreme ways to do so. In Turkey, as a resort country, there are various services offering to thrill your nerves while observing the local landscapes. But some tourists choose to do this independently, for example, by traveling along the most dangerous roads in the country. One such highway is State Road D915. D915 starts in the Trabzon province on the Black Sea coast and ends in the Erzurum province. The total length of this route is 179 kilometers. The northern part of the road passes through the Karadeniz mountain range with a pass at an altitude of 2330 meters above sea level, and its southern part passes through the Otlukbeli Mountains with a pass at an altitude of 2409 meters above sea level. Just imagine the landscapes that open up for travelers on this road. However, D915 is recognized not as the most picturesque road in the world, but as one of the most dangerous. And here's why. Sections of the route that pass through the mountains have no barriers, and their width barely accommodates 2 passing cars. Moreover, these sections feature 29 sharp turns. The most dangerous part of the route is called the Derebasi turns. It is located in Kaikara. This section of the road stretches for 5 kilometers, with an elevation change from 1712 to 2035 meters above sea level. In 2014, the Sarat Group embarked on the grand construction of an elite resort city called Burj Al Babas. The company was inspired by medieval and fairy tale castles. The prospect of demand for such unusual housing seemed indisputable, but at that time, Turkey faced a difficult economic situation, and the owners of the Sarat Group went bankrupt. Initially, 732 castles were planned to be built in Burj Al Babas, but by the time the project was closed, only 587 houses had been constructed, half of which were sold. From the outside, the mansions of the resort city look absolutely identical, but inside they have differences. Sarat Group offered 3 options for the interior layout of the houses. Each castle looks exactly like in a fairy tale, with several small turrets and terraces. The plot area is quite sufficient to arrange a small inner courtyard or plant a garden. At the client's request, a pool could be located in the yard or inside the castle. Unfortunately, Burj Al Babas is now a ghost town, as construction was never completed, and almost all those who invested in their own castle refused to buy it. As a result, Sarat Group remained bankrupt, losing over $200 million spent on construction. Some experts believe that the fate of the city can still be changed, but none of the investors want to invest in this project anymore. In 2023, during the excavations of the ancient city of Sagalassos in southwestern Turkey, archaeologists discovered an unusual tomb from the Roman era. The burial chamber was sealed with bricks, and around it there were numerous magical nails. For scientists, this discovery was unique, as they had never previously found a burial site in Turkey with such a large number of ritual objects. The deceased person, who was buried in this tomb, had been cremated inside the burial site. The chamber with the ashes was carefully sealed with double brickwork. Around the burial chamber, archaeologists found 41 bent nails. Experts suggest that the ashes in the tomb belonged to a very superstitious person. It is likely that he was very afraid of evil spirits possessing his body and thus decided to protect himself from this. First and foremost, he arranged to have his body burned inside the tomb, sealed the ashes with bricks, and built a barrier against evil spirits using magical nails. Interestingly, Archaeologists had not previously found similar graves in Turkey. It seems that this person was one of the most superstitious residents of this region. If you think that archaeologists share all their discoveries with the public, you are mistaken. Many finds remain strictly confidential, but some information about them occasionally gets published on the internet. One such discovery was made in central Anatolia. Archaeologists found well-preserved remains of a humanoid creature, at least 2,000 years old. Its skeleton was indistinguishable from a human skeleton, but its skull structure was unique. Scientists had never encountered anything like it before. This creature had an elongated head shape, but most notably its upper and lower jaws seemed to have fused together. In other words, based on this anatomical feature, it could be said that the creature had no mouth. Unfortunately, there were no further details about this find available online. It is likely that scientists are currently focused on identifying these unusual remains. And that's all I have for now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon. Your engagement is the best reward for me. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye.